Today we find you in front of the piano. It's a good thing.
That's right. I'm in front of the grand piano in my studio now because we talked about discussing some chords and songwriting and stuff a little bit.
So today we're going to talk about this song that honestly I really love, called "Try Unite."
That's right.
It was the first song that you made with Nakajima-san, right?
Yes, that's right. That was the first song, and I guess that was the first song that kind of kicked me into the anime scene as well.
Which is a really amazing song. It has many versions, right? So as far as I can tell, there are like 4 or 5.
Are there that many? Maybe. I mean, there's an album version and stuff. I mean, there's the 89-second version from the anime, and then there's the then there's the full album version. Actually, I don't know if there are any more official ones, at least. I mean, we did a piano, like a duet recording as well.
Yes, exactly.
So there's that one.
I was listening minutes ago, actually, to the Rasmus duo version.
Right.
Also, I had the chance to listen to because I was listening to Megumi Nakajima's album, in which there is the full longer edited version with the super long intro as well.
Right.
So that was very interesting to listen to all these different versions.
Yeah, it puts that kind of sort of that flashy intro kind of rhythm chord thing into perspective. I guess we should say for people listening or watching this that we wouldn't want to play the song here because we will get stuck in like YouTube's algorithms and it will probably block the song. But Try Unite by Megumi Nakajima is like easy to find online and everywhere if you haven't heard it. So you should be able to check it out and then see what we're talking about if you want.
Yeah, you should, because it's a great song. So it was I think one of the things that makes this song really memorable is as we're talking harmony and we're talking chords today. It's both the harmony, but also the special rhythm signature at the very beginning of the song in one of the versions. So you have these 4 chords at the very beginning, and it's a 5/4. Then it goes back to 4/4, and it feels. It has a lot of impact to start the song. Like, what was your intention when you started creating it?
I think I can't recall what I started with, but I think it was something like I think I started writing the song around that intro, and then maybe even I started with that phrase. I mean, I've used that trick a couple of times. It's actually not. To say that it's an odd time signature actually makes it a little bit more complicated than it is, because it could have been on paper much more complicated while still retaining the same structure. So it's like, I mean, the part goes like this. And that's actually how the I think that's how the radio edit and the 89-second version starts. But the intro in the long version keeps on like this for a while. And then some effects and stuff, and yeah. And then goes on for 4 times, and then so in that case, it's like 8 notes in brackets of 3. So it's like daga 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 da gang, right? So that is basically like I just do that thing, and then once the figure is over, I just start counting 4/4 again. So it's like dang 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 gang 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and then I mean I could have gone dang in the gang, dang in the gang, dang in the gang. 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I could have gone on for, and I've used that in a couple of other songs. I think I have a song that I made a long time ago now. It's called Ever After, which is kind of my break into the Japanese house scene. That also used kind of the same trick. So it goes like, and then I just start to count, and so I mean it's so yeah, that's the thing, which, and then maybe, you know, I guess the effect is it kind of throws you off a little bit rhythmically, so that you kind of like, it's kind of a reset of your internal rhythm, which can like have a little bit of an effect where it starts again, then it's just like picking up from zero kind of.
And then you reuse that part through the song as a motif, right?
Right, yeah, it comes back a couple of times, yeah.
It comes back, yeah, on the right before the pre-chorus, I think. Then on the pre-chorus you have like this. I think it's it's like two chords, and it's probably just a fourth and then a fifth with the fourth on bass.
Yeah, let's play through it, because I just to make sure I know where you're what you're talking about. So it goes like, and then comes the verse. Switching to major here. Oh, okay, yeah, and here it comes. Yep. And then the chorus. I mean, there's some interesting chord things in there, I guess.
There is like a atmosphere, like some, it's a bit ethereal or mystical because of the voicings that you're using for this chorus, right? Like you're voicing in fifths, which is always a very dramatic sounding sound, I will say. So it feels like these chords really have a special feeling to them, right?
I guess it's in my fingers now. So like, for example, like this chord. So I would quite often have this is like, so it's an octave, and then well, I guess it's the fourth and the fifth. Oh, it's a 1 and a 4 and a 5. So depending on what is in your left hand, in this case it's the octave is the third in the chord, so it's a major 7 chord with an added sixth, and no 9, no 5. And it can also be like, if so in this case it's an F, it's a B sharp, C, and an F. So if I have G in the bass, it's going to be like a G minor 11 without a 9. And you know, yeah, so it can work. Also this sort of B major with the third in the bass, so also an effective way to, so that gives it that sort of, yeah, kind of quarter and fifth vibe to it.
Like you're not exactly sure like what kind of chord you're listening to because of these, as you say, like omitting certain notes or having not the bass on the bass and things like that. So it feels very, very ethereal.
Yeah, I guess because I mean I don't know. I mean, hopefully it's mostly mostly a good thing, but I think because I just got so used to when I was studying when I was studying jazz piano, I got so used to putting the voicings like quite high up in the harmony. So it's like I would often play on, let's say I have a D sharp major 7, which is here, like, and then I would always be like really playing not really on the D flat major as much as I would play on the A flat that goes on top, and where you have the +4 up here on the G, which is it's almost like 2 major 7 chord stacked on top of each other. So I mean, even going, I don't know. I feel like I mean, I sound a little bit like it. I mean, it's going a bit too theoretical now, maybe. But it's like, so then even being able to play like the +4 on the A flat chord, which is the key of D, which is the note D, which is of course completely wrong in a D flat chord, but it somehow still works. So it's like, I mean, kind of works. I wouldn't maybe not use it in the song, but I mean, anyway, I think that's an ethereal thing. So I would have these like maybe some arpeggio or something. It's kind of like, yeah, it just puts a lot of stuff is happening in the bass, and if you write down the chords, it sort of looks like there's a lot happening, but it's really a lot of it is like the same cluster of notes. You just move things around in the bass and stuff.
And it's also interesting because you mentioned like most people when most people listen to music, what people easily identify obviously is the melody, but then you have, for example, if you listen to a chord, most people will first identify the higher notes on the voicing. So it's a really interesting choice that you choose to choose certain notes on the voicing to put on top to especially show them through the song and have the listeners realize, oh, that's an interesting sound.
Yeah, I mean, I think the word ethereal is quite nice because it kind of gives you both the downsides and the upsides of that type of writing. Because the upsides is that kind of like a little bit sort of heavenly and subtle vibes, and kind of beautiful and sophisticated. On the other hand, it can also be like a little bit vague sometimes and a little bit sort of not so grounded. So I mean, there are other people that are much better than me to write, you know, more like simple stuff, you know, and which I can really admire, like going a little bit more, just playing a little bit more on the roots of the chords, and being a bit more grounded, where everything is a little bit more sort of earthy and like, a little bit more down to earth, and just that can have a real strength to it as well. So yeah, I guess different styles and different used to.
Styles, definitely. So everything's about intention and style, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And like intentions and intuitions, I would say.
It's interesting that the song is quite a bit, and because of the tempo, like the high tempo, and because of the rhythm section, it feels very positive and it feels very happy, even though chord wise and melody wise it can sound a bit sad sometimes. So I was pretty impressed when I heard the duo version, the Rasmus duo version, And it was interesting because the song is already a sad song. So I just realized that the Rasmus Ibon version was one whole step lower than the original version. I think the original one is in F minor, and this one is in E flat. No, right? Yeah, E flat, right?
Yeah, I think well, but you I would have, you could have told me anything, to be honest. I don't actually remember.
So did you choose like to change the key to was it a choice because you wanted Megumi to sound different, to sound like her voice to go louder?
I would say I would say 95% sure it was a choice that had to do with her range. And like how easy it would be to nail those notes in a live situation compared to in the studio. So I'm yeah. So it would be more relaxed for her, because I think a lot of those high notes can be sort of powerful and emotional when you hear them on the record, but they're so difficult to pull off in a live situation that is kind of like detrimental to the song a little bit. So that I think that happens live quite often. I mean, a lot of even on large gigs and stuff. Like if people would change keys just to make sure that they're comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. And even though it's basically structurally chord wise almost the same song, it has a very different vibe to it just because of the not you don't have the rhythm section, and you also chose maybe some different voicings for the chords. How was the process for you to come up with that alternative version?
I have no recollection of what my theory was behind. I think I mean, if I had to guess, I would say the only reason that I would change voicings is because I also changed the key, which would change some of the natural ways I would play certain chords. But I think also just like trying to cover, because in the in the studio version, in the album version, there's not all of the notes are on the in the keys. So I can't I don't remember exactly how I don't even remember. I don't know how much piano it is in the original actually, and in all places. I don't know if it's piano all the time in the chorus. I can't really recall. So the chorus goes like. So that's probably played with like pads and basses and arpeggios and stuff on the original. So just having to play, and then there's a guitar in the original, which I guess I mimicked. So it'd be something like. So already there, it sounds a lot more yeah, I mean serene and kind of, and also the chorus is quite happy because it switches to major. So it starts a little bit weird. So you have the pre-chorus going like that's where we go. Like we go to F major all of a sudden, but it's a really ambiguous chord. So it's like it's like da 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 da. So it's one hell of a chord to start the chorus with, you know, in a kind of like a sort of slightly popish song, but so it kind of goes. It sort of alternates between major and minor there. So. And it goes back to minor, still in F minor, and then back to F major, and then still in F major, 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 and then minor, 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 major.
It's amazing how there is a super good balance between like the happy part and the sad part, and all this melancholy through this whole song.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because I haven't really thought about this sort of in a more abstract way, but I guess when you go from major to minor, there's always a bit of a, well, you go a little bit from a happy vibe to a little bit more melancholic vibe going from major to minor, but you're also a little bit sort of pushing the notes. Feels like you, well, the major third obviously goes down to the minor third, but it feels like it feels like most of the stuff is going up, so there's a little bit of a lift. So like, and then when you go from minor, so I guess, well, here we are on the D flat major 7 chord going back to F, and then we go to F major, then it's more like, oof, you know, you kind of like land a little bit, and then you keep on going inside the major frame. And deliberately, I think I'm not playing any third in that last, just to make sure it kind of like stays ambiguous. And then, yeah, I guess the second verse. Something like that, yeah.
Did you have any, when you were asked to make a song, did you have any directions from the director, from the from the agency? Did they ask something in particular from you or from the song?
I mean, I think there was a lot there already. I can't recall precisely, but I remember it was a pitch. So I don't know how many people also send in their alternatives, but there were a couple of composers that they asked. I think maybe 5 something. So at least that's what they told me. So you know, so I kind of like, I guess I just, knowing that Megumi would be singing it was kind of like an inspiration in itself, and then kind of having the format be an anime song was also kind of, yeah, it was kind of giving the proper frame for it all, and then as well as then just my style of kind of, yeah, house music ish type of stuff. So already those 3, there wasn't that much more needed. It was like in a way a kind of like a pure distillation just of those 3 aspects: Megumi, anime, and then myself, I guess.
It's personally still to this day is one of my favorite songs. Do you have any personal favorites among the songs that you have created, no matter the genre?
Yeah, I mean, some of the songs that I go back to are sometimes ones that are not so, maybe not the ones that become the most listened to, I think. I mean, there is an anime sort of, I don't know how big she is, but her name is Annabelle. I think she's half Japanese, half, this wrong, could be Argentinian. Could be getting that wrong. I hope not. But anyway, I mean, she's I'm not sure exactly what she's up to now, but I wrote a song for her album called Dream Reverse. It's a kind of a ballad, and I don't think it's, I mean, it's definitely not one of my most sort of commercially successful songs, but it's one of the ones that I like the most. And also the last song that I wrote for Megumi Nakajima for one of her recent albums, a song called Submarine. it was also kind of a little bit sort of overlooked, I think, because it was when they posted it, yeah, the international market didn't really take notice because it was all in Japanese, so it was really hard to find that song on YouTube and Spotify and such. But I really like that one. I mean, it's kind of like a downplayed pop thing. And then I also really like the second song that I wrote for Megumi for the same anime that Try Night was for, a song called Marble. That one I also really just songwriting wise. But I mean, then I done like, I mean, songs like the Shiawase, very long title in Japanese. That song that I wrote for Maya Sakamoto is like, I'm very proud of it, and also like all the stuff that I did for Macross and stuff. It's like I'm quite proud of the effort in a way, but it's also a little bit maybe like sometimes a little bit too energetic for me to go back and enjoy by myself. I don't know. Sometimes maybe I just on a very personal level, I maybe sometimes find those songs a little bit too flashy after I'm done with them. I mean, I still like them, but I like these songs. Like, there was one song that I did for Asterisk called "Lonely Feather." It was also one of those like quite toned down, and I tend to, I guess, go back to those and kind of feel. Yeah, it's nice to have a song sometimes that only has like one idea.
Yeah, if people haven't listened to it, as you mentioned, Submarine is a really great song. And it feels like very positive and very, like, it has a very, not so much on the melancholic side, even though it still has its good dose of it. Very, and it really fits Nakazumi Megumi, honestly. So
yeah, that was a nice one. That was a nice one.
So you brought up Marble, which was the opening for the second season, I think. For by the way, the anime called Dine no Lagrange. I don't know how it was translated into English. The flower of Lagrange, something like that.
Yeah, flower of Rine or flower. Yeah, I think flower of Rine, maybe. I could. Yeah.
Which is a great anime, by the way. But let's go to that second opening song. So for you, it's a really great song, of course, and it really sets the vibe as well. What parts did you especially like about that song? Can you run us through a bit of the chords, for example?
Yeah, I mean. So for Try a Night, I actually prepared a little bit, just playing through the chords just to make sure I remember them. So what you will hear now, unless we cut this part out, is me sort of like trying to remember my own song, and sometimes it works and sometimes it's not so pretty. But I think it's in, if I recall, it's in the key, it's in B major. That's yeah, I like that whole thing that has such a, I mean, it's like when I play that to people, it's like you couldn't get a more positive song even if you tried. Like it has this like, it's almost, I mean, it's almost ludicrous how positive it is. But it has a little bit of an interesting thing I just realized. It's like it goes on a pretty like simple major add 9 chord, and then it goes to the just to the 4. So in that sense, it's really simple. But then I do the third in the bass here for the second chord. So it's like, which gives it a little bit of a twist. And then one thing that is quite nice is to have like you have a major chord with the third and the bass like this, and then we say that let's say, I mean, if that chord was a major 7 chord, then it becomes like, and that's a pretty I mean, it has some tension to it, I guess, because you have this interval going without there being like a, whilst not being a root in the chord, there's still, so you basically have a chord that sounds like this. If you play it just with that's the third in the bass, that's the root note, and that's the major 7. So you have that thing, and now we have to try to make that sound beautiful, and we do that. So we move the major 7 up an octave, so you have this instead, and then we add some forgiving notes in between, and also this chord doesn't have I'm going out on the limb here, but let's humor me just for a second. So let's say I just wanted to play an E flat major chord, right? Sorry, E major 7 chord. I mean, sorry, E major 7 is like that, right? But then if I take the third and move it down to the 9, then I don't know. It sounds a little bit sort of like a little bit 80s, I guess. So what that is basically like it's a B triad over E. And then, I mean, that's basically the same chord up here. So you have E, and then you have the B triad, but then you add the third, so you have the full major 7 chord, but you add it in the bass. So anyway, that's the verse of Marble. And then comes.
And then it has like a really amazing build up that leads to the saddest pre-chorus followed by the happiest chorus ever, which is like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, how is that build up? Like, what chords are you using there?
I really find sometimes that writing these songs, it's like I have a place that I want to go, but to find the way there is really difficult. So sometimes the road is actually quite sort of like complicated to get to the goal. So you have some things that you want to hit in between, like certain moods and certain energies and stuff that you want to sort of touch on before you arrive at, say, the chorus or something, and then you want to bring room for a certain amount of complexity before you sort of let it out in a kind of more open-ended chorus. So in this case, it's something like this. So we come from the verse. And then this, so it's like it's like we go back to the B major with an F with an F sharp in the bass, modulated to an A flat minor, and then that B major triad is still there when we go and change the note to an A, making that like a +4, and then resolve it into a regular sort of major 7 chord, and then stick to the B now in B minor. And so there's quite a bit of stuff to unpack there. da 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 okay, so
It's
okay,
amazing
so
how the song changes the mood in just 1 second. You're top down on the bottom, and suddenly you're up in the chorus. It's a really nice contrast.
yeah, I mean, and this, yeah, there's a lot there. So it's like, so basically here it's just that this for the 3 chords that follow is the B major add 9 triad that just. And I mean, this is suddenly using this, that kind of thing, but just using it in that place, which sort of makes it kind of both natural and unnatural at the same time. We still feel the E major very much like the 4, and then comes the F, and it really feels like a dominant. So this feels a little bit out, and then I'm doing the same thing, treating this as, again, a 4 going to a 5th, going to the 1. Now all of a sudden we're in E flat major. Yeah, so it's like and then going back from so going from E flat major to B major is not that much of a stretch. I mean, it's like, so the way I do it then becomes like, and I'm going from C major, well, I guess C minor 9 to a B major. B major 7 is not that much of a stretch, because it's this. So you have that. You can even add the note F to that thing, so it's like. Then we have that thing that we talked about before, the 5th thing, so it's like. And then we're going. And now we're in A flat major, and then switching to the to A flat minor. So I'm turning that into a sort of 6-2-5-1 thing. So it's like. And then starting the chorus on the 4. I mean, that's classic anime vibes, right? Da 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 da.
Were you inspired by other anime songs, for example, or were you at some point like when you listen to Japanese music. For example, I don't know, like having your fifth with fourth and bass, or like having all these sus4 chords that appear constantly in Japanese music. Did you at some point willingly introduce some of these elements in your songwriting for some songs for effect, or was it just like what came to you?
I think sort of integrating some of that stuff together with the jazz background kind of gave some of that up. Like listening to maybe like Ruichi Sakamoto or like Joe Hisaishi when I was younger, or Yoko Kanno for that matter. I was a little bit older, but still, I mean, you for example, you have this sort of like, you know, like that comes in, you know, at least I guess a third of all sort of Japanese commercials. You have this like something like that, like kind of all the variations of on sort of Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence type of vibe, right? So you have something like, but then using that in, I mean, sort of taking that sort of mode and then making it into and making it sort of jazzier and sort of twisting that in different ways, I guess, can sort of make it feel like I guess I've incorporated some of that that sort of slightly Japanese harmonic vibe into the more, I guess, sort of more complex kind of jazzy fusion pop type of chords that I'm using in the. I mean, because some of the stuff that I do is a bit sort of, I mean, I guess a little bit sort of on that sort of jazz pop type of tip, but then maybe adding one of these sort of, like you said, esoteric type of overlay, sort of making a little bit more. Because when you have something that's quite complex, like you have something like this. Then if you play that like this, so you play it more like in a rootsy way. So where was I? Like. It sounds, I don't know what it sounds like. It sounds a bit more out there, but the way I do it is often like with the string arrangements and with the pads and everything. I look for like common notes to transition between everything, so it's kind of like smooths out the strangeness of it. So it's like. Something like that.
There's definitely some parts, like for example the as you say, that keep some notes going on. For example, the strings on top that kind of keep it all together, even though it's, as you say, all these complex chords and it's changing all over the place, but you still have these high notes constantly still, that really brings it all together. It's a really nice stylistic element. And I think another thing that a lot of people associate commonly with maybe contemporary Japanese songs, especially in Japanese pop or anime, will be like all these crazy chord changes. And one good example of that will be, for example, the song Change that was featured in the anime Macross. What was it? Delta? Yeah, Macross Delta. So
Right.
that's another tricky one, right?
It is a bit on the tricky side, for sure. So let's see. So yeah, it's an insert song from the Macross Delta, and it goes something like this. It starts like this.
And it does a bit of the odd signature thing at the beginning as well, right?
Yeah, I mean this how can I say? There is a chord here that is quite commonly used in Japanese music. In this particular place, and I've used it a lot, but in this particular place, it's not that pronounced. But it's this thing. So, you know, it's a D flat major 7 going to an F minor 11, something. Not so strange, but then you have a D, in this case D minor 11 coming in. Sound a little bit sort of, yeah, very jazzy and also quite a lot of nice tension to it. In this song though, I sort of just glance over that and kind of, I guess I use that more as a parallel to F major. So I go like D flat major to F minor to D minor, which is essentially changing the key to F major, and then to G minor, ending on a B flat major 7, and then back to F minor. And yeah, there comes a strange interval here. I don't know how to explain that away. I mean, maybe it's just a hard dumb key change. I mean, if you want to get picky about it, you could say it's like A flat major with a C in the bass, B flat major with a D in the bass, going to E minor. So you can say it's like I'm using that sort of bass, like, yeah, but that sort of bass movement. But the two first chords are different, so it's like.
So was it also like the thing that you explained before, that you have a place to go and then you look how to go to that place?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes sometimes it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like sometimes I have to go to. Sometimes I know. I mean, it's sometimes it's really like a puzzle. Like, I know the singer's ranges, and I know maybe the chorus, and then I know how the chorus will then lead back to the verse. And I have maybe the pre-chorus, but I don't know how the verse is going to relate to the pre-chorus, because that all ends up in different keys. Because the nice pre-chorus that I wrote is sort of the wrong key in terms of the singer's vocal range compared to where the chorus has to be. So I have to find a way to sort of transition between that, and then often the complexities are actually created by such circumstances.
So in this case, the second part of the verse changes key 2 times, right? Like a ladder that goes up.
Yeah. At least I think. So is it? I mean, here E minor, we're actually one half note down from the verse here. And that is, I mean, what happens there is I sort of make a key change going 2 semitones up, which is both a bit like a sort of, sort of kind of like happy key change vibe, but it's also the, I'm gonna say, it's also going to the, I mean, we're in E minor, right? So the F sharp minor 7 is actually also the 2. So it's not that strange to go there from E minor. So at first it's like a bit smooth, but then you realize I've actually not used it as a 2, I used it as a new 1. So it's like, and you can tell that by me putting the 9 straight in there, because the 9 in F minor is the major note of is the major third in the E, so that makes it sort of instantly going out of E minor. All right, and so that's another, yeah, it's another one of those, like, yeah, kind of crazy chord changes. It's kind of the first, it's kind of funny because it's the first time I'm explaining these songs in this way, so I really have to like dig into my brain for the kind of teacher type of knowledge that's going to make it come out, because I haven't really written it in those terms always, like maybe I'll just find some line and it just happens, and I put it down and then it's there and I sort of adjust to it. I would never have any special reason to maybe write the chords down on paper later or something. It's just it's kind of like I have to relearn it myself. But it's fun. I mean, it's fun. It's fun. But yeah, it's a little bit. I feel like my language is a little bit rough, but hopefully something can be taken
So
from it.
you basically don't start on paper. You always start playing or on your DAW, laying down the basic structure. You don't actually go, like on paper. That doesn't happen.
No, I mean, probably when I start writing some of these songs, it's like I really try to just like I mean, a lot of times I think like compared to what people think songwriting is, who are not doing it, for me at least, it's a lot more about a kind of engineering process. But when starting one of these songs, it's really about like, I mean, kind of imagining the scenery and the vibe, and like the five female singer characters in their whatever fighter jet thing, and blah blah blah, that kind of, that whole sort of macros vibe, and then just going like that kind of yeah, just sort of looking at that cloud of energy, and then just sort of looking as a kind of like I don't know, a big sort of mold of clay or something like that. I have to kind of like just see what comes out of there, and then just starting to kind of like feel it out on the piano and feel the key ranges, and write a little bit on the verse and see how that can fit together. And so I rarely write it down unless I have to for some musician coming in or something.
So when you go to your DAW, you almost have the whole structure of the song finished, or do you start?
Go to my.
Sorry, when you actually go to your computer and start making the arrangement on your DAW, do you start when you already have the whole idea for the song finished, or have you started just doing like a chorus like fully arranged and then adding other parts?
No, usually I talked to someone about this. It's quite funny because my demos are, I mean, they sound absolutely terrible in the beginning. So I'm working on an anime song at the moment, and I actually took the time to render out like versions of the demos, going from very early and then just sort of up to through the stages. And it's quite funny because it's like the like the very early demos, like the version 1, really is that like kind of scattered thought process where there's like a chorus, and I just put down a basic beat that sounds really terrible, and then just like the chorus chords come in, no melody, no nothing, and then just the beat goes on for like a minute, and then comes a little bit of verse section, and then maybe some melody jotted down. Like it's really like a sketchboard on paper, but it's just in my DAW to kind of, but then sort of just like everything just pulls together, and then then becomes
so it happens product. To you to be, it happens to be replacing a verse with like putting the verse before another element, or like changing this or making it into an intro. So do you change elements inside the song during your songwriting process?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, nothing is holy at that stage, and sometimes I just have to like, this is actually, yeah, I'm pretty efficient with when I produce and mix and stuff usually, but this stage of songwriting can really be about like just laying on the couch for like a couple of hours, and then just like, oh God, how am I gonna put those two pieces together? And it's like, oh, go to the piano and go like, oh no, go back to the couch, you know, lay there for another half hour, like just like trying to sing. It's quite terrible actually. It's not my favorite part, but it's fun when it actually it's almost like solving a puzzle, and or like a mystery or something, and then you know all of a sudden it's just like, wait a minute, what if I do like this? And it's like, oh, okay, yep, this is gonna work, yes, and then you can start to sort of like record stuff.
I see. So once you have that basic structure laid down is when you start like the whole arrangement process, and that for you is more like the engineering part of the whole thing is more automatic.
It's more, I mean, it's automatic in the same sense that maybe, I mean, in the sense that a jazz musician who's improvising is also in a way automatic compared to writing a song. So it's not that it's completely mechanical. It's just that it's a bit more flow, you know, like it's a bit more. It's coming up with the theme of the painting as opposed to simply just painting it. So in that sense, it's a bit more engineering-like. But I suppose what's really engineering-like is the later process with like building the beats and building that's kind of more, a little bit more mechanical. But this sort of arrangement stage is a bit more just using kind of is just using you're able to use your skill a little bit more in a flow kind of way, so it's not as straining.
I see. So we'll talk about the mixing and arrangement process maybe at a different time.
yeah, we should. I will prepare some tracks so we can go into the details of a track later on. Yeah,
that'll be awesome. All right. So I think that was it for today. I think it was a pretty intense episode.
Yeah, that's true. It was pretty intense, but yeah, thanks everyone for watching this, and we'll see you again. Bye.